If you saw my recent spoof video about Croydon Power Station being accidentally blown up by Fred Dibnah, you may be surprised to know that Fred really did come to Croydon. Twice. In 2004, the celebrity steeplejack was at the Fairfield Halls for an evening with Fred Dibnah. But 10 years earlier, he was invited to consult on, wait for it, the chimneys of Croydon B Power Station. Ikea was building its new warehouse and was deciding what to do with the two 300-foot chimneys. One option was to build a restaurant at the top of one of the chimneys with an elevator that rose up the inside. Another option they considered was to knock them both down. Various companies were invited to say how they would safely demolish the chimneys and provide a quote for the cost. Richard Jolly was the construction manager for Ikea, who oversaw the project. Richard told me that Fred Dibnah was invited to come down from Bolton to size up the job. Richard's photos show Fred inspecting the chimneys, discussing demolition plans, and even marking the position of a proposed weakening hole in the brickwork. Fred put the cost for equipment, demolition and clean-up at about £40,000. Fred's personal fee for the job would have been a further £5,000. According to Richard, Fred's was the most competitive price of all the companies that quoted. At the end of the day, Ikea decided to keep the chimneys. The reason was the store was built quite far from the main road, and they were concerned that people wouldn't easily find it, and retaining the chimneys would be a useful landmark. And so, two giant rings were hoisted up and attached to the top of the chimneys and decorated in the Ikea brand colours. More than 30 years later, the chimneys remain one of the most recognisable features of the area. So, my silly story about Fred Dibnah and the Ikea chimneys is not so far from the truth after all. Had Fred been allowed to get to work, things could have worked out quite differently.
Do you like that?
Visit Richard Jolly's website to see the pictures for yourself.